Morning, everybody. Welcome to CEO Chat. My name is Al Cini.
I'm Joe Osamendi.
And we have a terrific guest lined up today, Michele Siekerka, who is the president of the New Jersey Business and Industry Association.
Welcome, Michele.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
We were talking before the program. You've got so much to offer. I think I want to start with the New Jersey Business and Industry, NJBIA. What is it exactly?
Yes, so we are the largest member association actually in the entire country. We represent over 1 million jobs across the state of New Jersey. I like to say everyone from the corner pizzeria to the 1,000-employee call center to the biggest utility in the state of New Jersey.
Wow.
And we work tirelessly to advocate on behalf of New Jersey business to ensure that we have an affordable and regionally competitive business climate here in the state of New Jersey.
Okay, that's great. And I know you mentioned you've got 18,000 companies,
Yes.
as well as over 1 million jobs
Yes.
represented. And the organization is 108 years old, I think you said?
Yes, we are. We've been around. We actually started as the New Jersey Manufacturing Association, right in an industrializing Trenton. We were there, the manufacturers, and it's very interesting because as our economy grew here in America, it all happened right in our region, and we grew right with it, and we're still there today.
That's
And you
terrific.
interface with the local and regional chamber of commerces also?
Yes, we do. We have tremendous relationships. I espouse the importance of members of companies belonging to their local and regional chambers because business starts in your backyard. And you need to understand who else is doing business in your backyard, and that's how you build your best relationships.
Well, that's terrific. And it also makes sense, I think, too, from the point of view of people watching the program. If you own a business, no matter what the size is, NJBIA membership is affordable because it's based on the number of employees.
Exactly.
So even small businesses could become members.
Yes.
And even if you're already a member of a local chamber, it pays to be connected with Trenton.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially today as we sit in 2018 and going into 2019, we have a very challenging business environment in the state of New Jersey. We are the highest tax state in the nation, no matter which tax for the most part you're talking
Joe
about.
and I know that very well.
Yes,
So,
yes, and as business people, the cost of doing business is significant. So
Right.
while we advocate in order to ensure that we can have a competitive business climate, at the same time we recognize how expensive it is as a state. So we help our members on the other side by providing savings programs for them and education and things really to help in their back office so that they can grow every day.
Okay, great. Now that gets us into a discussion of member benefits.
Yes.
So advocacy in the state at Trenton is a big part of it, but also individual members benefit by membership in NJBIA.
Yes, absolutely. We have a suite of products and services, and specifically for small business who can't afford to have a really robust back office operation. So, we provide a health benefit solution program. The number one concern of businesses year after year when we survey them is the cost of health insurance. And so our members have asked us for decades, can't you bring us a solution that can help to bring competitive costs for healthcare? We've done that, and we just launched a program this past year in partnership with Association Master Trust. And what it is it's a multiple employer welfare arrangement, which means that many companies can come and create a pool. And the bigger an insurance pool, the more you can have the risks, among that
out.
pool, and therefore that drives the costs down.
Oh, great.
In addition, we have other types of programs where you can save money on energy and shipping and payroll processing. And and actually on payroll, we're lifting up a brand new program as we speak right now in partnership with Prime Point, where you can now get discounted payroll services. So think about a small business who doesn't have that back office support. They don't have the CFO and
Right.
folks like that. BIA has a suite of products and services for you that your back office can run with our support.
That's a real benefit. So small companies get the benefits of big companies by pooling, essentially in a cooperative way,
Exactly.
a lot of the costs associated with these programs. That's very important.
And another thing many companies don't have is they don't have the lawyers sitting in the back office.
Right.
Oh,
And so BIA provides 30 minutes of free legal consultation to our members, 30 minutes every month over the year.
Oh, really?
3 different hotlines. One is on HR issues, which is really the most robust because, unfortunately, biggest challenge in the
the world we
workplace
live
is
in, but
employee
these things come up.
relations. But we also have contract disputes and general business issues.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I'm lowering my risk and I'm cutting
Exactly.
costs. I don't need to have an HR infrastructure as much as I otherwise would have because I get a lot of backstopping from the NJBIA when I'm a member.
Absolutely, and we have a member action center that helps to facilitate all of that. So it's pretty much the 911 call for our member. You call our member action center, we'll connect you with whatever you need in order to minimize that risk
Sure.
and bring down the cost of doing business.
You
Yes.
also
great.
deal with workplace safety too, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. And, our members, so again, we were born on manufacturing, and so it's so important if you think about, traditional manufacturing and the workplace of manufacturing,
Right.
we try to ensure that any type of law or regulation takes workplace safety into consideration.
I think that before the program, I'm glad you brought that up, Joe, because we were talking about what's new in New Jersey, and one of the things that's new is the cannabis industry.
Right.
It currently regulated pretty heavily, in fact illegal, but that is expected to change. So staying on top of that trend is also a big part of what NJBIA does.
Oh, absolutely. So we're always monitoring what's the next big thing coming down the pike in terms of legislation and bills and regulation. And yeah, we know that the cannabis industry is coming to New Jersey. So here, we have medical marijuana today, and that's a very tightly regulated institution. But just to show you how the pent-up demand for this industry is, the state put an RFP out for 4 new medical marijuana facilities. They got over 100 applications.
Really?
So there's a lot of pent-up demand from the industry side to see the industry lift up. Now, we got to make it legal first. So our legislature has been working on legislation. BIA has not taken a position on the social issues of marijuana one way or the other. How we look at it is this industry is going to be here in New Jersey sometime soon because the governor wants it and the legislature wants it, so they're going to make it happen. We need to focus on making sure that workplace safety
Exactly.
and the language of the bill addresses workplace safety in such a significant manner that the employer still controls the terms and conditions of the workplace when it
Right.
comes to influence, under the influence. Yeah.
That's important. You also, in interesting ways too, you also advocate the employees in the companies that you represent too.
Oh, yes.
Because I mean, a lot of it is about the employees' rights and some of the things that could jam an employee up, like drug testing versus alcohol addiction problems, and
Absolutely.
So making sure that you evolve along with those changes in society is a big part of what you do.
Yeah, I mean, something we're very proud of at BIA is we tend to stay ahead of the curve, and we have for 108 years.
108
We've
years.
always looked at what's coming down the pike and proactively leaned into how we can best ensure that the pathway to whatever that is the most responsible for our business
Okay,
members.
great. So educational programs, got them?
Lots of them, lots
Okay.
of them. So we do an HR series every year because, again, running a business is very difficult from an employee relation perspective. And this past year, we've had new mandates in New Jersey. So we just had a new paid sick leave law that affects every company, whether you have one employee or thousands of employees. You now have to provide a minimum of 40 hours of paid sick leave. Companies who before didn't have written policies need to have written policies, and you have to have these policies and deliver the program in a way that meets the requirements of the program. So that's a good example of we'll do seminars on that so that we can help our employers to address those changing needs in their policies in the workplace.
That's great. Now that's a combination of maybe in-person training and
Yes.
online training, I guess?
Yeah, we have, so on our website, we have a lot of resources. We have, frequently asked questions, we call them fast facts, so that you can quickly get your hands on the information that you need to understand. We do that compliance assistance on the phone, we'll refer you to the legal hotline, but then we do these, half-day and day-long sessions. I just sat in on one last week to get, I'm an attorney by trade, so to get my own continuing legal education on a 6-hour program on handbooks.
Oh,
and
great.
how companies need to every year you need to look at your handbook and make sure you're staying up because the change in law in New Jersey is dynamic and it changes by the day.
Oh, so attorneys in New Jersey ought to be members of the NJBIA too.
And they are, and it's attorneys that deliver these on-site programs. So, example, the program last week I was talking about, we had 4 of our legal law firm partners deliver that, and that's important. They're well versed on it, and as well as HR professionals.
Yeah, that's
How long have
great.
you been on with the association?
So I'm with the association 4 years,
Okay.
and it feels like some days it feels like just a day, and other days it feels like I've been here forever.
You probably do have some pretty long days.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
great. And before that, you were the commissioner, deputy commissioner?
I was the
of-
deputy commissioner with the Department of Environmental Protection from 2010 to 2014 and a half.
Oh,
So,
okay,
yeah.
great. So connecting with government is something you're totally comfortable with.
Yeah, I think what's wonderful is actually having my experience in government before coming to BIA, I think gives me a very good perspective on how government operates and how as an organization from the outside, how we can work with government and manage the expectations of working with government on what we can achieve.
Well, that's great. But before the program, and while we were talking, you made a really important point I definitely want to bring out. We talk about government and kind of the abstract. We talk about business and kind of the abstract, but it's really about relationships between people.
Yes.
And that's something you feel is a sweet spot for you.
Oh, 100%. I truly believe in the value of relationship building. And I would say, again, what distinguishes NJBIA, and I would say what distinguishes me personally, because I take relationship building very important, we're not transactional.
Okay.
It's not just show up, do this, and leave. It's this is a piece to something that's a bigger means, and that's relationship building. And I like to pride BIA on being the connector and the facilitator, because we are absolutely supreme when it comes to getting the right people around a table and facilitating and negotiating a discussion in order to a good outcome.
Yeah, that's great. So if I'm somebody out there who's thinking about joining the NJBIA, and why you haven't already called is a surprise to me.
Yes.
If I'm thinking about joining, it's an opportunity for me to meet the movers and shakers in government. That's
Yes.
one possibility.
Yes.
But it's also possible that I'll end up making a business deal with somebody else who's a member of the NJBIA.
Oh, absolutely, all across the board. I mean, the relationships and the people around the table. We partner with government, and so we bring our legislators into our communities through our employer legislative committee programs. So right in your community, you can meet your local legislators in a nice grassroots discussion. So important. We connect our businesses with each other through the different programs we do. We have a very, very, very strong partnership with academia, K-12, community college, career and technical, and 4-year as well. We are very big in the workforce development space.
Okay.
When we advocate every day to make business strong, we do that to create jobs. If we just stop there, we haven't finished our business, because we have to make sure that we have a pipeline to fill those jobs. And so we spend a significant amount of our time and our research and our energy on workforce development as well.
That's impressive. So over the last couple of years, things have changed in the country. The political climate has changed in
Yes.
New Jersey a couple of times. How do you stay on top of all that?
Yeah, it's not, it's not easy. The pace right now is significant. Business community is getting hit left and right with new rules, regulations, laws every single day. And this is what's good. The good news for business is that's why we're out there. We're not just proactively advancing good policy. We are caused to react to bad policy every day. And when we have policy that's very challenging for New Jersey business, we go in and we mitigate that. So just give you an example of what I mean by that. We weren't going to be able to stop a new law on paid sick leave because there was just the political will to get that done. But the original bill had 72 hours. And it had certain language in it that a seasonal worker would accrue their time. It could almost come back in the next season and almost take the first 3 days off. That's not going to help anybody.
No.
So through our efforts, we got the hours down to 40 hours, and we were able to get the language in such a way that the companies that have seasonal workers are in a better place than they would have been before.
That's very important. So again, we have to take a break, but a really important point here is that legislators aren't always as tuned into the business community as they need to be to make smart laws. And a big part of the role of the NJBIA is to make sure that any new laws that are passed have the effect they intend, and none of the unintended effects that could really hurt business in the state of New Jersey.
Absolutely, yes.
That's really great. Okay, we need to take a break, Michele. Michele, by the way, was brought to us by way of Mark Iorio, who hosts on RVN TV Rainmakers Roundup. And what we want to do after the break maybe is bring Mark in to talk a little bit about how the
Sounds
two of
great.
you know each other.
Good.
So we'll be right back with more CEO chat after this.
Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
We're back.
Welcome back, everybody, to CEO Chat. My name is Alcini, still again.
And I'm still Joe Osmond.
You're relentless, and that's what I like about you.
There you go.
And we're interviewing today Michele Siekerka, who is the president of the New Jersey Business and Industries Association. And you were recommended to us as a guest by Mark Iorio. Mark, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
Great to see you, buddy. And you host Rainmakers Roundup on
Yes, I
Wednesdays
do.
here on RVN. Why did you think Michele would be such a great guest for us?
She is, Michele is one of those people, honestly, that is all about relationships. We met many years ago through Trenton Rotary Club, and it wasn't much after that Michele asked me to join the then Mercer Regional Chamber of Commerce. And it just really opened up a lot for me as a business person, in the community. But that's just who she is. She's just the type of person who's very approachable, always looking to help others. We talk about the go-giver all the time.
Sure,
And, Bob Berg's book. But that's who Michele is.
That's who Michele is.
That's
Thanks,
what
Mark.
she's all
That's
about.
very
I mean,
nice.
that's-
Okay.
Always
Yeah,
always
now
about
she-
making
now-
connections.
Now
Yeah.
Michele is so embarrassed, but that's great. I'm glad you.
She didn't turn
well,
red.
the important thing is that there are people at the NJBIA. It's not just a logo. It's not just a telephone number.
Yeah.
There are human beings on the other end of the line, and they really want to hear from you and what's concerning you. It's not about getting people to fit a program, it's about shaping the program to fit the people.
Oh, 100%. So when we sit with a business and they say, well, what do you have? And I say, well, tell me what you need.
Yeah, tell me what you need,
And
I
then
think
let's
that's
step
great.
back and let's address that. And to your point about being accessible, we pride ourselves in all the ways that our members can touch base with us.
Mm-hmm.
So on our website, we have a little icon that says, tell Michelle or ask Michelle, and our members use that. And it comes right into my inbox, and I commit to returning that within 24 hours.
Oh, that's great.
And sometimes I get some things there that maybe aren't, maybe a little more controversial, but I lean in and I always reach out, to the person and make sure that we're being responsive. But we have numerous avenues like that where members, we have, 911 member services, emails where they can call right out. I talked about the Member Action Center.
That's great.
So very easy access to us, yeah.
It's so important because people look at organizations, how do we reach you? What are you going to do for us? And not in personal, a lot of organizations are so impersonal, you can't talk to somebody like yourself. And I think it's really important for you to be on our show so people can really understand the organization, who you are.
And I would say the other thing that's very important for me personally, I go out and spend a lot of time in the community, in the business communities, whether I'm speaking at an event or just supporting an event. But to me, I say I need to be with the boots on the ground. So I can't sit in an office in Trenton and purport to know what's affecting business if I'm not literally out there in the business community, asking them, engaging them, and actually observing it, going on tours of our member companies to, when they say this is a problem in our workspace or what's the practical impact of legislation, you go and you walk a business and you actually see it firsthand. And we bring legislators into our companies too, which is important, yeah.
That's critical. But as we were talking, I was thinking too. You kind of brought this up. When you join an organization like the NJBIA, it's not about, you have to lean into that yourself too as a member.
Yes,
you
you
can't
do.
just expect the NJBIA to all of a sudden understand what you need and provide it for you. So there is a kind of a knack to using a chamber of commerce or an organization like the NJBIA that if you play your part, then they can play their part.
We have had members over time all of a sudden realize something that we provide. Actually, great example. We had a program just 2 days ago, and a gentleman stood up. He goes, I just found out about this program yesterday, and I'm here today, and I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea BIA did all these things. I'm joining. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, where's the testimonial? Get him on video.
Get this guy on record, yeah.
Exactly. But you're absolutely right. You have to make yourself a part of it as a company, or else you're not going to appreciate everything that we can bring to the table.
You really won't. You'll be a year into your membership wondering what it's doing for you, and the truth is it's been there for you, you just haven't used it.
Exactly.
And I think that's a big part of any organization, not just the NJBIA. But you started to talk about events. I guess you have a few events you sponsor on a regular basis, is that right?
We do. So I talked about the HR series before. In addition to that, we do a lot of policy events because, again, we're very policy driven. So just this morning, great example, I came here from a program where we had the governor's key advisors. So we had his chief of staff, his chief policy officer, and the head of EDA talking to a room of 150 of our businesses. That type of access for our business to be in the room. And this is not open to the press. So this is the type of meeting where our members can ask those real questions and get honest answers.
Challenging questions and get frank answers back.
Exactly. And then we have a program on December 7th, which is our annual Public Policy Forum. And this is a big event where we actually look forward and we do a little bit of prognostication on how the economic climate will be for next year. But we have a legislative panel where the legislative leaders speak about what they see in the new year, as well as we do some forecasting. We have economists in banking and healthcare and energy, and they sit on a panel and they talk about what we can do to plan for 2019, and then we deliver the results of our annual business outlook survey.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned the press. Getting companies to move into New Jersey is
Yes.
also part of what the NJBIA does. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. So, I'm a cheerleader for New Jersey. When I'm out there, I always start positive and end positive because we have tremendous assets in the state of New Jersey. We have the best K-12 education system in the nation. People come here to send their kids to our schools. We have a highly talented workforce. We have more engineers and PhDs per square mile than anywhere in actually the world, if you can believe it, and it's true. We have tremendous infrastructure assets. All these things, and of course, location. I mean, you can get to hundreds of thousands of consumers, in a 2-hour radius, and that's all great. And we tell that story. part of our challenge is we don't mine those assets really well here in the state of New Jersey.
that's
and we see that in
unfortunate.
our transportation, and for years we didn't pay attention to it.
Right.
You know, so we wound up having to increase the gas tax to make that investment, which is a wise and important investment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, while people will say, well, that's driving up the cost, that's an investment that will reap return.
That's an investment that you're recovering in a way, and that's benefiting
and the
the
same
state.
in our students. Like, we have to invest in our students.
Okay, now we're on that subject because people who watch our program aren't just in New Jersey. We have some viewers in New England, we have some viewers in New York, we got people in Washington.
Pennsylvania.
And to a lot of people outside of New Jersey are the shoulders on either side of the New Jersey Turnpike. I mean, they don't know anything more really about the state than what they see when they drive through the state to get from, let's say, Philadelphia to New York. So a big part of the NJBIA is to get the word out that there is a whole lot to the state of New Jersey than what you see on Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Yeah, and I will tell you, you know, economically, there's a reason why post-Sandy, the federal government was quick to get money into this region. Because from an economic perspective, the economy for New York is driven out of New Jersey. I mean, we are the back office to Manhattan. And so we play a critical role in the national economy. The Northeast does, and New Jersey's a significant player in that.
Sure.
You know, on the social side, my gosh, we've got 140 miles of pristine beach.
Right.
You know, on
Seriously.
barrier islands that people, it's kind of a funny story, because people go, wow, you build on your barrier islands? You know, in other countries, we use them as barrier islands.
Yeah,
you know?
right. They're there for barriers.
Right,
Yeah.
but you think of our tourism industry, you think of our history. You know, and you marry history and tourism, and our tourism industry is a huge, huge part of our economy in the state of New Jersey.
Sure.
And then again, our education system, K-12 and beyond.
I don't think people, you made a good point, because I don't think people understand how many great services we have in New Jersey. It is kind of a joke sometimes, like he said, the Real Housewives or Jersey Shore or something.
Well, you
People
get
see those
the
kind of
pop
things.
culture is focuses on one particular narrow aspect of it, but
Well, and while we're an expensive state, and you know, and I said that before, we are an expensive state. We need to do something to rein in our spending and tax reform.
right.
But the thing for us to keep in mind too is we get a lot for our money. So K-12 education, we're the number one property taxed state in the nation, and 85% of that property tax goes to fund your local schools.
Okay.
But we have incredible. They always rank in the top 5 of our K-12 education. That's an investment that, as a person in the community, say I'm willing to make that investment in my property tax for those students to get a good education. But we all have a wallet and a piggy bank. And so while it's a good service, you could still only afford it to a certain point. And we're past paying the premium. We're like asking people now to pay the super premium. And it's out of control. And we're having an out-migration problem as a result of that. So we
Right.
need to rein that in, and we need to be responsible spenders of our state money.
You know, that's important. Now, when businesses decide to relocate to New Jersey, where do they typically come from?
They actually come from all over. We don't have a particular trend of coming from one place. Though I will say New York, we have a good in-migration of New York businesses because, again, Manhattan is over super premium as well. And the Gold Coast has done a great job. And when I say the Gold Coast, I mean, Jersey City, Hoboken, Weehawken, Bayonne. They've done a great job of building an ecosystem there that supports a good economy. And so it's easier for a company to come out of Manhattan and locate up there.
Yeah.
We have companies that come here from Europe. And that's a little easier because Europe is so expensive that New Jersey to you looks cheap compared to Europe. So you're not comparing the states, you're just comparing Europe to New Jersey.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
And so we're very good at recruiting from out of the country into New Jersey. Food industry, it is incredible over the last decade.
Really?
How the food industry in the state of New Jersey, everything from manufacturing to logistics and distribution around food, but we have these food ecosystems in the state of New Jersey now. It's incredible.
Wow. So, what would you say to somebody thinking about joining the NJBIA? Why should they do it?
Well, again, it's back to, it's not just Michele. I mean, I just want to make sure that everyone understands. Michele she's a nurturer. So that when you look at her staff, she engages her staff. The employees are engaged in the organization. So when you go to NJBIA, the people that work there love to work there. So, you join there so that NJBIA can advocate for your business. There's so many benefits, as you talked about in the first half of the segment, to benefit businesses coming into the state or belonging to NJBIA that they're not getting from other organizations. It's not to say that they shouldn't, they should join their chamber, their local chamber, but be a member of NJBIA because of all those additional ancillary benefits that they bring to the table. But again, it's this wonderful leadership that Michele shows, and then the nurturing nature of the staff that she has. They're very, very approachable.
Well, something that comes across too, just in your talking about it, is that there's a lot of energy associated with being associated with the NJBIA, and that energy is something that a company feeds from. That's the fuel of a business, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, we are very passionate about what we do. And I say all the time, whether it's to my staff inside the building or when I'm out speaking with our business community, truly, when I wake up every day, I'm really happy and I'm very passionate about the fact that I get to go out and represent New Jersey business because I'm really proud of New Jersey business and what our companies and our CEOs and our leaders and the employees across the state, what they do. I always like to remind people, because there's a negative connotation, oftentimes corporate greed and corporate welfare, it's way over here, and it frustrates the heck out of me. It really does, because I remind people that great businesses make great communities. Think about the fact, right? When our company leaders and their employees go home after they've done their job driving our economy, they take off their suit, they put on the baseball hat, right?
Yeah,
or they
right.
go and they take the collection at church that weekend, or they help to fund the parade. That's what fuels a community.
And all that is what makes the community work. I think that's great.
Absolutely.
Now, we're coming up on that part of the program, and don't misunderstand me. I need your phone number, but but I need it because people need to know how to reach Michele Siekerka and the NJBIA if they want to become a member or want to become involved.
Yeah,
So
please
take a look at
do.
your camera and tell everybody how to get you.
Thank you. Well, you can reach me at 609-858-9500, and our website is njbia.org.
Oh, that's pretty simple. And it's an opportunity that people out there ought to be taking you up on. I think that's great. Michele, thank you for joining us today on CEO Chat. Mark,
It's a pleasure.
everything you promised and more. Thank you very much for
It was a
making the
pleasure. Thank you
introduction.
for the opportunity.
Thank
Oh,
you.
it was a
It's
great
been
opportunity
great
for
business.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us on CEO Chat. We hope you learned as much as we did. I mean, it was a very instructive.
Certainly was.
And yeah, it was terrific. And what's your name again?
I'm Joe Smith.
You going to be back next Friday?
I believe so.
And so will I, one way or another.
Absolutely.
And we'll be back for more CEO Chat next Friday morning. Until then, have a great weekend.
Thanks for joining us. Be safe. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michele.
It was
Thank you.
terrific. It was absolutely.